5, 4, 3, 2. Welcome to another episode of Reese's Reviews, the podcast with the man, Reece, and the other man, Matt. How are you, Reece?
Batman, Duffman. I'm doing well, my friend. Glad to be back on the podcast with you, talking about all things we love most of movies, TV shows, music, theatre, all things that brings us joy. So I'm really happy to be back.
Excellent. And while we sip our waters to keep ourselves refreshed for this episode of Reese's Reviews, we're going straight into our first segment. And again, still haven't recorded it, so I'm going to have to do it live. Off the top. The name of the segment is Off the Top.
Purchase now on iTunes for $1.95. Okay, so our brief off the top side of things, we got the news this week that the spin-off series of The Boys, Gen V, has been cancelled after 2 seasons. So it's officially been cancelled, which is a bit of a shame. I did quite enjoy Gen V. Didn't like it as much as The Boys, but I still was like being in the universe of The Boys and Gen V, which is kind of good. The characters I enjoyed as well. This is coming from the after the news that Vought Rising, which is the prequel series starring Jensen Ackles' Soldier Boy, is set to release next year. So we're still getting that from The Boys. But it's also just, I thought that news was a bit of a way to bring up the just a bit of the cancellation came a bit of a surprise because we're currently right in the middle of the final season of The Boys, which, side note, I'm actually enjoying. I'm enjoying it more than I enjoyed season 4. And so as recording this podcast, we've got 2 episodes to go. Episode 7 dropped tonight, which I have not watched yet. But we're finally getting our Supernatural reunion. We're getting Jensen Ackles, Jared Padalecki, and Misha Collins in the latest episode. So I'm really looking forward to seeing that soon. But yeah, I just thought we just mentioned the fact that Gen V got cancelled. So what's your exposure with The Boys universe? And have you seen Gen V? What's your takeaway from this?
I only get bits and pieces, so like through social media and all that. So I see random clips, and I know it's my type of thing, but I'm completely waiting to all of it has been completely released, and then I'll eventually do a binge watch.
So you're saying you're going to wait till all the spin-offs finish and then watch everything?
Yeah.
You're going to be waiting a while because you got Vought Rising coming out next year.
All right, fine. All right, I'll squeeze it in. It's Amazon Prime, and I don't want to, or Amazon Video, whatever you want to call it, but
Prime Video, yeah.
Prime Video. I just don't want to sign up to another streaming service. Yeah, I'm on a budget as it is.
Yeah, that's fair enough, man. That's fair enough. A lot of these things are coming out of the way. You're getting all these different shows, and they're all these different services, and you want to keep up to date with the run of the mill with all things going on with the pop culture and all things entertainment, and you got to pretty much subscribe to so many. So once you get to a point when you got to,
that's the reason why I gave up on trying to watch anything Game of Thrones, because I just couldn't keep up.
Well, this Game of Thrones are all on the one.
Yeah, on the one service. Yeah,
on one service. So,
but it's just like say with all the Marvel stuff, like the trailer for Spider Noir being released, and man, that looks fucking great.
It does.
But the fact is,
it's on Prime Video.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm going, there's a reason why I subscribe to Disney Plus. But you can't blame Marvel for that. It's Sony, because Sony own the rights, and Sony just going, whatever place wants to run it. So obviously they've done it to piss off Disney for some reason. Or Amazon have just gone,
Amazon Prime has always had a deal with Sony. So a lot of their properties do go on. It's either on Netflix or on Prime. So I'm to one of them. So
well, it's Sony at the end of the day. Don't care. They get money for it.
Yeah, they're the dealer. They will bring you the product, and then whoever gives them the best deal for their product to go on their service, they'll take it. So
yeah.
Living on from one big fantasy world to another. This was announced quite a few weeks, about 2 weeks ago. So I do apologize for the lateness of it. This was announced.
Lateness.
Yeah, ticking the
time's ticking.
Ticking at the clock. I know. But this was announced at CinemaCon when they were doing the Warner Brothers panel, and they just pretty much announced that pretty much the main key cast of Andy Serkis's new Lord of the Rings film, The Hunt for Gollum. And so we heard a couple of days before that Kate Winslet was cast, which we talked about on the podcast. And so it pretty much just said that Andy Serkis is reprising his role as Gollum and Smeagol. Ian McKellen is coming back as Gandalf. Kate Winslet is playing a character called Marigold, which, not knowing anything about the books, I wouldn't know what character that is. So if someone can educate me, that'll be great. We have Leo Woodhall is playing Halvard, again, another character I've never heard about. We have Lee Pace returning as Thranduil, which is Legolas's father. Elijah Wood has officially been announced. He's coming back as Frodo Baggins. And Jamie Doran is being cast as Strider. So we talked about a little while ago that they were going to recast Aragorn Strider from Viggo Mortensen, and we officially know who that's going to be. It is Jamie Doran. Now, anyone who thinks that name sounds familiar, he was our Christian Grey in the 50 Shades of Grey trilogy. That's Jamie Doran. So I think he's a great actor. So I think I'm very intrigued to see what interpretation he's going to make to Strider. So I thought that was kind of good to kind of talk, because I'm a huge, like, when it comes into my favorite films of all time, like I said in past episodes, when I think about my favorite movie, I think of Star Wars as New Hope, Empire, and Return of the Jedi. I like them as that's one movie. When I think of Lord of the Rings, Fellowship, Two Towers, Return of the King. If I had to choose movies in between it, I could choose on which one tops on one, but I think it is one big collective. So I love Lord of the Rings. I watch the extended version of those films at least once a year. I love them so much. So the fact that we got back into the universe with Hunt for Gollum, with Philippa and Peter on board to do the script and producing, Andy Serkis on as director, I'm looking forward to it. So what's your thoughts about the casting for The Hunt for Gollum?
I think that's really cool that they brought some people back, but now I'm trying to work out whereabouts it stands.
It's a prequel. The
yeah,
Hunt for Gollum, so before Fellowship.
so it's before Fellowship. Okay,
Yeah.
so
So do you remember in Fellowship of the Ring where?
it's a bit. You know why? Because in Return of the King, they do the throwback to how
Smeagol turns into Gollum.
Gollum, yeah. So that's what's throwing me off. So it's that little part that goes just before that.
So it's just after that. So you know how in the point with Fellowship of the Ring where Gandalf goes off to find out what the ring is, and then he goes, I searched everywhere for the creature Gollum, but the enemy got to him first. I think, from my understanding, it's that section of the story.
All right, we'll see, because anyway,
so
fair enough.
I'm intrigued. So I thought we just touch on that. So one last thing, that Adriana Arjona, who was in the latest, who's in Andor. She's gorgeous, and if anyone has not seen her Netflix film with Glenn Powell called Hitman, she's great in that. Very what's the word I would use? Very easy on the eyes in that movie. I would say that. But she has been officially cast in James Gunn's Superman sequel, Man of Tomorrow, as Maxima.
Okay.
So I'm not too sure what that character is. Not being too familiar with the comics, but I am looking forward to seeing the James Gunn return and David Cornsweet Superman back on the big screen. So I thought we just mentioned the fact that they have a new casting to the cast of Maxima. Everyone was under the suspicions that she'll be our Wonder Woman, but she's playing Maxima. So
and you know what? I got one more thing off the top for you.
What's that?
Did you know? And I only discovered this yesterday when the publicity was going around for it, with Netflix's new movie Apex with Charlize Theron and Taron Egerton. Yeah.
Yes,
that was filmed in the Blue Mountains.
It was. I knew. Yeah. We heard about it. So I saw the trailer.
That's not far. It's not far from where Reece lives. People.
Yeah.
So
yeah, absolutely.
It's a bit of a drive, but you're any closer, you'll be classified as a local, but you're far enough to be just an outsider
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, pretty much. So yeah, that concludes our
But
topic
the
of
thing
top of the
is,
top.
Charlize Theron, she's my go-to. So
She's your
yeah,
whole pass, is she?
yeah, if I had a partner, yeah. So like other than Anna de Armas, yeah, like Charlize, I freaking adore.
Mm,
So and the fact that it's like, oh, you filmed at the Blue Mountains? I was only a 45-minute drive away. What the hell?
yeah. When I watched the trailer for that movie, I went, okay, I know what that is. I know what that is. I know what that is.
Yeah. Hey, look, that's the Three Sisters. Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Cool.
So
Well,
that wraps up our segment of off the top. Please take
off
away
the
with our
top, off the top. That segment again was off the top.
woohoo. All right,
Uh,
let's keep this momentum going and go into our official topics of today of entertainment honorable mentions. Okay, so I picked up on this this news is pretty it's been one of those things where this has been in like production hell for a number of years, but they've actually had some movement on it and they came and it was
what do you mean
pretty
production hell? Whoa.
yeah, well, pretty
Like
much it's been on off kind of thing, and we don't know things being attached and not
you're
attached. People
talking
don't.
about Blade again.
I wish no, but no, you know, but something very different. But they had some updates of it, and it was pretty much. And as a recording of this podcast, it was only announced a couple of days ago. So Tony taps Brian Hengeland to script Django slash Zorro film from Quentin Tarantino's Matt Wagner comic. So pretty much a
Ah.
crossover of Django Unchained and Zorro.
God, so they'll be swearing and saying racist terms.
Maybe. So this is coming from us from Deadline. So Sony Pictures is moving forward with a most intriguing movie mashup. The studio has set Academy Award winner Brian Hendeland, Mystic River, and LA Confidential to write Django Zorro for a big screen continuation of a story that was hatched in a 7-issue crossover comic book series co-written by Quentin Tarantino and Matt Wagner and published by Dynamite Entertainment. The comic was published back in 2014. It was considered maybe the closest Tarantino might come to a sequel in the continuation of the adventures of the slave turned bounty hunter played by Jamie Foxx in the 2012 film Django Unchained. Tarantino directed that film but won't helm this one, though I understand that this film has its blessing to move forward at Sony, where he expected to make his final film as a director. The project is in early development, with Hegland scripting a new story that follows on from the comic series. In that comic, Django continued to track Despicable Prey as bounty hunter and develop a kingship with Don Diego de la Vega, who was played by Anthony Hopkins in 1998 TriStar film The Mask of Zorro, where Don Diego passed on the Zorro mantle to Alejandro Moreta, Antonio Banderas, in a 1998 Martin Campbell directed film. So, my understanding that this is the new script will focus on young Zorro. So, the
Ah.
fact that we've got these two mashups, which I never would have thought that would be possible. Like I would never have thought of a Django and Zorro crossover film, but go figure. And it's been directed by the guy who wrote LA Confidential. I went, this is a very intriguing, and it's based on a comic book series that was co-written by Quentin Tarantino. This all has the recipes of a great what's the word? Pretty much recipes for a great project. Has the foundations to be something really good if it's depending how it's going to be executed. But when it comes to Django Unchained and Zorro, what's your history with those two films, and what do you think about them matching these two together?
Well, I've seen Django Unchained. Very, very cool, very funny movie. And I've only seen the first Zorro movie, but I haven't seen the sequel,
Okay,
which which was a bit odd because like it's got your favorite, didn't it? Catherine Zeta-Jones.
I had a crush on her when I was a kid. I think everyone when they watched The Mask of Zorro for the first time, everyone had a crush on Catherine
Yeah.
Zeta-Jones.
But the crossover between Django and Zorro is very random, very weird. Well, I'm sure there is a valid reason why there is a join together, but just thinking of it reminds me of when they nearly paired up Men in Black with 21 Jump Street.
Yeah, yeah.
So
That's an odd pairing.
just
Yeah,
because you got the same IP, or you own the IP, doesn't mean you need to merge it all.
yeah.
Just because you can doesn't mean you should.
True. That is true. I'm intrigued about the concept. I think if with a good um team behind it and a good
Hmm.
screenwriter, which looks like they've got a good one behind them to write the script, I think that could be turned into something good. Whether, like they said, there's
The
going to be
Mask
basic,
of Jingo.
yeah,
Sorry.
yeah, pretty much, maybe, but the fact that they said they're going to try and base it on young Zoro, but we actually don't know what they're going to adapt and what they're going to write for it. So whether they'll bring back Jamie Foxx and Antonio Banderas, I don't know.
Oh, I reckon Marcelo Hernandez would be good for it.
Who's that?
Do you watch SNL?
No.
Okay.
Is that the
He,
guy who? Is that the guy who?
There's Domingo.
Oh, that
So,
one. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I have a love for Zorro. I watched that movie a lot with my mother, so I got a very soft spot and nostalgia value with that film. I love it. Like I watched it so many times when I was a kid. And so I could quote that film constantly. It was such a great, fun time to be had. I love the score. I love the end song that they had for Antonio and Anthony Hopkins and Catherine were all fantastic in it. So it's a fun adventure and it's also heart wrenching as well. And even though I wouldn't say I'm the huge Quentin Tarantino fan. I would probably say Django is my favorite of his films. I walked away with Django really enjoying it, and I think out of all his films that he's done, Django's been my favorite.
Yeah, my favorite's Pulp Fiction.
Yeah, okay, maybe.
Then
Like,
Kill Bill.
yeah, I enjoy Kill Bill for what it is, but I thought that the narrative and the way it was shot was of Django was very well done. I did enjoy Once Upon a Time in Hollywood that he did with my girl Margot, but I just think that Django just was so much better. So I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with this. So that's the main point. All right. Next thing I want to go into on our second honorable mention is the fact that what we were talking about. I think was it last episode of the week before about a series called Shrinking
Yes, with Harrison Ford
and
and
Jason Segel,
Jason Segel.
and
Yeah.
who runs that show?
That is Bill Lawrence, and
Okay.
then also occasionally directed by Zach Braff.
Yes. So absolutely. So when I was talking about Shrinking, I referenced another show that Mr. Lawrence helms.
And
Certain Ted Lasso. We knew we
yes,
were getting another when they released the late season 3. It started off when they first released it. They said series finale. About 2 weeks later, they updated it unknowingly to the public online. They're saying from series finale to season finale. So we all suspected we were going to get another season, and then it got confirmed we are getting another season. And today, as recording of this podcast, they released the official teaser trailer for it, along with the release date. Now, this is coming from us from Variety. Ted Lasso season 4 trailer reveals August release date as Jason Sudeikis returns to Richmond to coach women's soccer. So Ted Lasso is set to return this summer. Apple TV has confirmed. Season 4 of the soccer-themed series, which stars Jason Sudeikis as Kansas football coach who relocates to the UK, will debut August 5th, with episodes dropping weekly until October 7th. Sudeikis also executive produced the series. Then it goes through who's returning, which is Sudeikis. Alongside Sudeikis are Hannon Weddington, Juno Temple, Brett Goldstein, Brendan Hunt, and Jeremy Swift. They will be joined by new cast members as well. Season 4 will see Ted returning to Richmond to coach a second division women's soccer team. In a new trailer, Sudeikis can be seen trying to coach his young hopefuls, while in another scene, he is berated for coaching a bunch of girls, you wanker. So, I love this show. Before I got into Shrinking, Ted Lasso was on my pretty much top of the list, and it pretty much gives you the same thing. Like, there isn't many TV shows that you can watch where you just feel happy. Like, it's just the feeling that it leaves you with, it's just full of heart, full of love, and full of happiness. And it just has so many memorable scenes that are in it that just makes you think, makes you ponder, makes you believe in yourself, and it's just it doesn't have to have a massive big evil villain in it to kind of bring the story forward and have a great narrative. It's just good people doing good things.
Yeah.
And sometimes with all the big House of the Dragons and big shows, Daredevil, and all these other big out there kind of shows, sometimes you just need a grounded, kind of easy show to watch, and it just makes you feel good. And Ted Lasso has been that, and I love this show. Like
He puts positivity where it needs. Like
yes,
but he's one of those it's like a grandmother or a grandfather type attitude type. If you can't say anything nice, don't say it at all. Or
yeah,
if you ooze positivity, that will spread around too. Like there's no need to be negative.
yeah, and I think especially the character of Ted, he has a lot of philosophies and a lot of sayings that kind of hit home a lot of points, and then being surrounded by the fellow cast members, especially Brett Goldstein's Rory and things like that, it's fantastic. It's going to be a very different feel not having the male soccer team cast members that team there because they
Ted
provide a
Lasso is a flower in a world full of assholes.
in a sense, but there isn't many. When you would go back and watch the Ted Lasso series, there wasn't too many. There was like wasn't too many unless you had after season one they had Nate and everyone hated Nate after that season. But other than that, it was just pretty much being going from day to day pretty much a background look on in the football community within a UK town and have a fish out of water and having this really nice guy getting kind of showing everybody that you can be nice to somebody and you don't judge a book by its cover and all that kind of
Yeah,
fun
because
stuff. So
because he was his family, his marriage was falling
falling
apart.
apart, yeah, it was,
Yeah.
yeah.
So, but he didn't show that in his work. He just went, all right, well, I still got to show up.
Yeah.
So,
And
and
he
so while he had his problems, he was making sure he was solving. He wasn't being selfish. He
no,
was,
he was still bringing his positive self, even though sometimes inside he was breaking. And I
yeah,
love that. And I've been so gearing up for this series to come back. I loved it. It's one of those shows that I sit down and watch with my beautiful wife, and we just love it. It's just such a great show. We look forward to episodes every week, and I cannot wait for the series to come back. In fact, I'll be getting back in August. I can't wait for that to come through. But have you watched Ted Lasso?
yeah. And I'm still casually watching it on Apple TV, which I subscribe to.
Okay. So
Yeah.
have you watched all three seasons?
No, it's only casually. I just watch it every now and then.
Okay. All
So,
right. Well, that's a
yeah.
good thing about them. They're not long episodes, so you kind of can get nice and relaxing. And sometimes you want to
Yeah.
change your pace.
Well, now that I've finished,
They're a good palate cleanser series to watch.
well, now that I've wrapped up on another podcast that's on holidays at the moment, I now have time to watch some bits and pieces.
Beautiful. So yeah,
Yeah,
I'm so looking forward to the series to come back, and we will definitely be talking about it when it returns.
excellent.
Okay, and last thing off the rank before we get into our next segment is a film that we'll be hopefully reviewing soon, and it's gonna be a sequel to a film that didn't do very well at the box office when the first one came out. It bombed. Yes, it was in the point of COVID, but it still was. It was received badly. It was reviewed badly, and it didn't do very well.
Now, you could either say that would be Wonder Woman 1984 or The Matrix Resurrections.
I could be second about that, but I am not.
Oh.
I'm in force course talking about a sequel that's coming out in the next few weeks, as they call it in this podcast, and that is Mortal Kombat 2.
Oh.
Now, they've had some early fan screenings going on for Mortal Kombat 2, and the first reactions are out. And this has been in my anticipated list, not my most anticipated, my honorable mentions, but would have made that. But I'm intrigued about it, and I am one of the minority of the population where I didn't think the first one was as bad as everyone thought it was. I still think that they shouldn't have made the lead a original character because there are so many vast characters in the universe of Mortal Kombat you could have centered around. You didn't need to make up an original character. I thought that was a stupid move, and I still think it's a stupid move that they did that. But I agree, but there are a lot of moments in the first movie, first Mortal Kombat. I love the opening 10 minutes is incredible with Nushi. I can never pronounce his name. I'm so sorry, but he was in Shogun. He was in John Wick 4, and he played Scorpion in Mortal Kombat. That first 10 minutes with him between him and Sub Zero was absolutely brilliant, and then that's where a lot of people said after that opening prologue, the film went downhill. I thought there was such a lot of great moments in the film, a lot of brutal brutalities. The MVP of the first one is the Aussie that is Kano. That I still crack myself laughing, and I'm going to be watching this film very shortly to gear myself like up for the second one. So I don't hate on the first one as much as a lot of people do. So I've got some. I just hope that they would at least learn that from the mistakes from the first one and delve into it because you in the first one you caught a movie Mortal Kombat, but there was no tournament. It was all the lead up to the tournament. But you're making a Mortal Kombat movie. Where's the tournament? So this one, there is a tournament, and we have our awesome that is the Kiwi of Carl Urban coming on as Johnny Cage, which is going to be sick. So I just want to touch on some of these reviews that they're coming, and I'm getting these from comicbookmovie.com. So okay, so this is coming from Chris Killian. So Mortal Kombat 2 is a stark improvement over the first one in just about every way possible. Better fights, cooler costumes, and nastier fatalities. It's all still quite campy, but hot damn, it's a gory good time. Mortal Kombat 2 is fun as hell and most faithful. Andre St. A. Albion wrote, Mortal Kombat is the coolest fucking movie of the summer. Complete perfection. Very Deadly Alliance vibes, and like the 90s classic film if it were made today, with non-stop crazy combat action. Baraka and Kano stole the show, but Jax and Liu Kang alongside Shao Kahn and Johnny do more. Um, Pretty much Big Gold Belt Media said flawless victory. Mortal Kombat movie is next level with deadlier fights, sharper dialogue, and truly combat worthy fatalities. The iconic stages, outward Edina, and costumes are brought to life in incredible fashion, reminding me why Mortal Kombat ate so many of my quarters. And I'll finish up with this one. Mortal Kombat 2 is a fun popcorn flick. The fights are bloody, the stakes higher, and the dynamics stronger than its predecessor. Carl Urban's Johnny Cage brings meta comedy and Jean-Claude Van Damme energy, while Adeline Rudolph's Katana gives the carnage emotional weight. So, um, okay, I'll end on this one actually. Mortal Kombat 2 is the movie we should have gotten the first time. It feels more confident and comfortable embracing its video game roots to huge benefit. It's a fun, fast-paced, ridiculous bloodbath with great action. Katana is the heart of it. Kano is hilarious. So I love these reviews, and I thought I'm so happy to hear these are coming out of the first reactions because this is what I wanted to hear. This is what I wanted. I wanted them to see that they've learnt from the first one. They've delving into the mythology of the video game. Yes, they understand it's going to be campy because you're basing it on a video game that has people's spines being ripped out and blood and gore and you have a person who's a meta within Johnny Cage about being an actor and things like that. So I'm so happy to hear that. And even though some of the trailers have been great, one of them has been okay. This has done what it's supposed to be. This has actually bulked up my enthusiasm a little bit more for this movie. So I'm actually getting a bit more excited to see Mortal Kombat 2. And coincidentally, this was what surprised me. My wife, who is pretty much a very tough critic, I would say that nicely, actually really enjoyed the first one. She was in the minority where she actually quite enjoyed it. So
Nice.
she has told me that she wants to go see the second one. So I'll be seeing it with my beautiful wife, and we will be seeing people's, we will be seeing the bloodbath together. So I am definitely looking forward to it. We'll be seeing it opening weekend, so hopefully I'll get some reviews on that. But Matt, man, what
Hmm.
is your exposure to the first Mortal Kombat, and what is after hearing these reviews? What's your thoughts of the sequel?
My first exposure to Mortal Kombat goes back to the original.
Mortal
Yeah,
Kombat.
Kombat.
I love that theme. That theme song is awesome.
So, and I do have Mortal Kombat and Mortal Kombat Annihilation on Blu-ray.
You actually got the second one.
Yeah, I love that. I love how bad they are. Get over here. And yeah, with the 2021 reboot,
Yeah.
and yeah, it was the whole, Josh Lawson carried the whole movie. And
He did. And I got a little side story to tell you about that. I was in the past, in the realm of COVID, and they stopped Supernova Comic Con for 1 year because of COVID, and then they brought it back in 2021. And because they couldn't get too many international stars or any, they brought in some homegrown heroes.
yeah,
And one of them was Mr. Josh Lawson. And he was talking all about Mortal Kombat. And pretty much he walked down and go, I'm so sorry. I got the biggest back problem at the moment. I've just been carrying Mortal Kombat this entire tour. And
nice.
I've not laughed that hard in a Q&A panel at Supernova than that panel. He was hilarious.
He the whole character with Kano was only really a secondary character in Mortal Kombat.
Owned that character. They
and that
led
they wrote
straight
him
into
so
the
much
Aussie.
in it. Yeah. Oh, exactly. Yeah. Just so yeah. So I am looking forward to number 2. When I saw the teaser that first came out, where the fake Johnny Cage,
Yeah.
and then I was going, oh yeah, this is great. The fact that the reboot of Mortal Kombat was filmed in Adelaide as well, and
so is this one.
So yeah, so a lot of Aussie extras, actors, and talent. Yeah, I am looking forward to this. So when I saw the reboot, they did it good. I'm going, finally, they got the tech, they got the CGI, they got the special effects to do it properly, and they've done it. So
you're in the minority where you actually thought the
I
first one
enjoyed
was
it.
really good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I thoroughly enjoyed it. Yeah.
Okay. All right, cool. So we have some positives here, but what's your thoughts about the reviews?
Fuck the reviews.
All right.
I am open
and
for it.
And that concludes the episode, ladies and gentlemen. He said after reviews, we're going to go.
Hey. Yeah. I am looking forward to it. So, yeah, bring it on.
Bring it on. Bring it on. Well, that wraps up our awesome segments of Entertainment Honourable Mentions. Finish him! Alrighty, let's bring on some nice little reviews, shall we, ladies and gentlemen?
Yeah, we're going to be talking. But before we get into it, I'm just going to hold on, just crank up the projector a bit and. Reece, okay. I've been looking forward to hear this review / recap because I know how passionate, how close you are to this this thing.
Yeah,
this person,
this
project.
Yeah.
And ever since they made the announcement, you were like, I'm so there. I am so there. And everything else. And you finally saw it on Monday on the long weekend.
Yeah.
And I saw briefly what you wrote on Letterboxd, but I closed it off because I want to hear it from the horse's mouth.
Yeah.
What is your review on the biopic Michael?
Okay, so this has been in my most anticipated list. This was number 3. This was, I would say, either 2 or 3 on my list for the year. So it was very high up. I had so high expectations, and then I heard the first reactions come out, as we read off a couple of weeks ago, and I don't know if my expectations could be any higher, but they went up.
Well, what about what I said? Fuck the reviewers.
I know, but I was like, you can't not kind of take those kind of things into account to a certain extent. But as I always say to any one of my film-loving brothers and sisters out there, you can take on all these reviews and things like that, and you can't let them make these your You can't make them to
Can't make
enforce
it
it.
be all and end all.
You can't let them change your expectations of the film. And your idea is when you walk into a movie theater, you leave your thoughts and your opinions at the door, and you take it on as a film as itself. So that's what I did. I sat down and I had amazing company with me. I had family and my friends. I had family with me, and my beautiful wife next to me. Um, and I can say I enjoyed it. I did enjoy it. With a thumbs
Okay.
up, if it's thumbs up or thumbs down world, or with a like or dislike, I give it a like. That is the thing. So I will give the positives for you first. So I
Oh,
would,
I really wanted to hear the negatives first, but
I no,
positive. No,
okay.
no, no.
I'll do what I'll do is,
You're on the positive train ride, so keep
yeah.
going on that.
So no, you've convinced me. So what I'll do a bit of the negatives, because even though I give this movie a like, I did walk out of the film a little bit disappointed. It didn't live up to the expectations that I had for the film, and it did leave me short. And the reason why I have that is when it comes to celebrating the music of MJ, they delivered on a lot of those points. So when it comes to the musical performances and what they did with the music, they delivered on that. So when they had the key ones for me, when they did um, when they showed Billie Jean, which is a clip's online and it's in the trailer, so it's not a spoiler. They go back to when he did Motown 25, and they showed that performance on him playing Billie Jean when he did the moonwalk for the first time. So that was just, I feel like I was just watching MJ on screen again with what Jafar was doing. Um, Getting a bit more of a glimpse of the Jackson 5 when they were younger and watching those performances and how amazing young Michael's voice was. And going into the point where they touched on it a little bit of bringing two gangs together to perform to be in the music video "Beat It," and doing showing a bit of the shooting the music video Thriller. Um, the standout performances was definitely Working Day and Night, Human Nature, and Bad for me. Those were the big three things. So the performances they worked. What everyone's been saying, Jafar Jackson is incredible. He embodies Michael just as he
Embodies his uncle. Yep.
embodies his uncle and the perform of Michael brilliantly and seamlessly. There are a lot of times you think you're watching Michael and he's breathing life. Michael's breathing life into Jafar, which is a bit of incredible. Common Domingo does like a very good performance of Joe Jackson. He does the role. He is the villain of the story, which is what the whole story is about. Is very much Michael trying to overcome his father and get away from his father, and kind of stand up to his father and move away from him. And Joe and Common Domingo just plays, provides a great performance behind that. And so Common Domingo, Jafar Jackson, and the young actor playing young Michael should also be commended as well. He did a great young performance of young Michael as well. So the performances, the way Jafar moved and danced, the way that they blended Jafar and the young Michael, a young actor playing Michael, vocals, and they blended their vocals in with the backing track of Michael was done very seamlessly. So pretty much any time that they are doing a cappella or they're in a version of the booth is them actually singing live, and then they slowly blend in the backing track of the actual song that is actually Michael Jackson singing. So they did fantastic and things like that. So that's all. That's a lot of positives. The film is actually shot very bright, so it's not very much a darker tone. You can very much see it. The cinematography is done in a light kind of manner, and a lot of the performances are done like. One of the things I find sometimes when you watch musicals or biopics, especially if you're doing something that has dancing and things in it. The last thing you want with the cinematography is closing up on certain things. You want to actually see the entire wide shot so you actually can see the person dancing and moving. And a lot of the times in this movie, especially with Michael Jackson, the way he's so known for his dancing, you want to see him. And I can definitely say that a lot of the time, especially when he was singing Human Nature, and then when they were doing the bad performance and things like that, they actually did the wide shots when you actually can see him, which is fantastic. And when they did their Billie Jean at Motown, they could actually see him. They did when they did the moonwalk. They closed up on his feet to show the moonwalk, which is kind of cool. So, but I thought that was a kind of good camera work to actually do that as well. Um, now, now we're going to go into a bit of the negatives for me. As a taking myself out of it and taking it on as a movie, it let me down at this point because the movie does not work in a sense to as a full narrative story because they jump a lot from his time periods. They go pretty much the easiest way I explain it is that it goes this happened, this happened, this happened, this happened, end, and then actually don't give you a lot of time to breathe. They don't actually spend too much time on Michael Jackson as a person, as a character. You don't learn much more about him as a person, about his process, about how he develops and how he moves on and things like that.
Oh,
I
that's unfortunate.
so I was disappointed with that point as well. I I wanted some more time with that. I think that they overlooked severely the Jackson Five, the brothers. They hardly have anything to say in the movie. They literally
And,
have maybe one line and or the occasional passing note of state of like dialogue, and that's about it.
and
The
I
whole
heard that there's also very little or no mention of Janet Jackson.
Well, yes, Janet Jackson's not in the movie at all and not mentioned at all, but that because she asked not to be included in the film.
Gotcha.
But Latoya is in it. She had like a one scene there, and she's in the background a little bit. So pretty much the whole movie is pretty much based around Michael and his father. They do have some certain scenes that I'm glad they included, like the Pepsi commercial and the accident of him getting burnt, um, and things like that, which is shown in the trailers as well. So there are certain scenes that they shot. There are maybe there's I understand why because they are this movie still goes for about 2 hours and 10 minutes, and to an extent I understand why they can't include everything. I would have liked them to at least shown a bit of them Michael doing "We Are the World" with all those different because that's a good narrative point. They could use "We Are the World" for a lot of that, which is I'm kind of ashamed that they didn't do that. Um, but just as a complete film, there is no development with actually learning a bit more about something new about Michael Jackson, about him as a character, about his process. Joe Jackson is there's not much dimensions to him. He's very much a one-dimensional villain in the movie. You don't have anything else to take away from him. You don't see kind of too much humanity in him or anything like that. You understand to an extent why he does what he does because he doesn't want his kids to work on the steel mill like him, but is very much one dimensional in that point. Yeah, the exclusion of the brothers, you don't get much screen time with them, and they jump a lot from time period to time period as well. And so I still enjoyed it. I think it's one of those things that I am going to go see it again just to see if I have a different appreciation to it of a second time viewing and not in taking my glasses off from it being my first viewing being Michael Jackson
Hmm.
and watch it again in a different frame of light. But I just think that I still walked out entertained by it. I loved the performances. I was tapping my hand and bobbing along to all the music and things like that. But it just lacked that substance to make it great. And
Uh,
when I start comparing it to other musical biopics like Rocket Man, Bohemian Rhapsody, Straight Outta Compton, Elvis, it didn't have the essence that those films also provided with
I was
being
going
able.
to ask you that if, comparing them to, say, Bohemian Rhapsody or those, what would, yeah, is it fair or is it just lacking the substance or?
Yeah, it just doesn't have like when you would watch when I compare it to, for example, Bohemian Rhapsody, which I absolutely loved. Um, I felt that you actually learn a bit more about the dynamics of the band themselves, and it take the idea of Queen out of it. It was still a good narrative story because you learn about the characters, and so they spent time on Freddie and the band and Brian and all those kind of things. You learn a bit more about their process, and they didn't do much with this one as well. And so I kind of think that Michael deserved a little bit better of a biopic than this. And with the anticipation of them going, make most likely getting a sequel to it as well, um, I hope that they be able to learn what they did from this. Because at the same time, I understand with this one that they had a lot of issues with the reshoots that they
Okay.
had to do because of the legalities of. Because I don't know if you know, but the film was finished filming. Finished filming, and then they were in post production, and then that's when the Michael Jackson state came to it saying, "Oh, you know how you used that whole entire section in the third part of the movie where you
Yeah.
touched on the legalities when you had they pretty much had to go back and pretty much said to the producers and the filmmakers pretty much say that you had to take out the entire the entire section of the film because they weren't actually allowed to use it, even though they got all the
Yeah.
clearance and all that kind of stuff, and then the Michael Jackson states came to them all of a sudden and said they couldn't use it anymore. So they had to pretty much scrap the third act of the film and then go back and do a whole bunch of reshoots, which you can definitely see when you watch the film. You can see the reshoots because it's a bit misjointed at the end part of the film where it just stops and ends a little bit abruptly.
All right.
So,
Would you compare it? How would you compare it to, say, Elvis, the movie?
well, the thing is, Elvis actually dealt with a lot of actual Elvis as a character, as him as a person. So
Hmm.
when you think about it as actual movie itself, Elvis is actually better in that aspect because besides the musical numbers, we learned a lot about, and we went on an emotional and a musical journey with Elvis Presley, and a bit like same with Elton John and Rocket Band, and in Freddie Mercury. In this one, you go on a little bit, but there's not too much emotional connection to an extent because they brush over a lot of things very quickly and they move on very quickly. And then when you get to that last half an hour,
Yeah.
it's just, and they spend a lot of literally the last 20 or so minutes is just two performances back to back.
Okay.
And they don't actually spend a lot of time.
So, like what I said last episode with Michael, that money wise, it's not going to reach
Well,
Bohemian
that's where I
Rhapsody.
want to lead into because Michael has actually had the biggest opening for a musical biopic ever. So this includes Straight Outta Compton for 60.2 mil, Bohemian Rhapsody for 51.51 mil, Elvis was 31.2 mil. Now, Michael has blew them out of the water with 97 million domestically, against all the other ones against all the rest of those other musical biopics. So Michael is on track of being fantastic. Now, my interpretation that I said when we talked about it is that yes, I thought that this would be the first musical biopic to reach a billion. I did say that, but I was under the assumption that that would be the case if this was up to the level or better than other music biopics like Straight Outta Compton or Bohemian Rhapsody. If this film was great and fantastic and loved by both the critics and the audiences, I thought that this would have a lot of repeat viewing and it would reach a billion. The fact that you've got a lot of mixed reviews about it and some people are on the same mindset as me, I think it still would do. It's still going to I would say it's still going to break even, but I would say that I would retract the fact of I don't think we will reach a billion. I think I'm in the same mindset of you now that the ceiling. I don't think it's going to reach Bohemian Rhapsody levels. But I don't think it's going to reach the Bohemian Rhapsody at all. But I'll be happy if it does because I want all movies to succeed. And if it does succeed in that capacity, we might get the sequel, and hopefully they will learn about what happened with the first one and adapt to it and see what happens like that. I am very cautious about the sequel because that's when they are going to lean into the controversies and all the other stuff surrounding the later part of Michael's life. It's going to be interesting how they do that. But with this one in particular, I still had fun. I still enjoyed it. I left it having a great time because I love his music. I love what he represented. And there's certain scenes that they did show. I did appreciate what they did show um, about what he was as a person and what they did for what he did for to show what he can do on that point. But I I did walk away a little bit disappointed. Didn't meet the expectations that I had. It wasn't a complete flop. Like I had Scream 7 in my most anticipated films of the year. That was an absolute complete disappointment, and I did not like the movie at all. It's not at that level. I still gave this film a 3.5 stars on my letterbox.
Yep.
So I still reached that, but I was really wanting to walk out of this film, giving this film like 5 stars. Like I wanted to absolutely love it, but I didn't. And so I'm going to go see it again just to see if I can get a second interpretation of it and see what if my opinion changes walking out. But overall, if I would say to the public, if you're still on the fence a little bit, if you enjoy his music and the performances that he provided and what he was as a in that instance, I think you're going to walk out of it having a great time. If you want to go into it actually with not just getting those aspects, but also having a thoroughly thought out and narrative and easy to, and a actual condensed actual plot of a film, that part of it, I think you might be disappointed. But that's just
Gotcha.
me. So that just wraps up my review of Michael, and hopefully this doesn't persuade people not to go watch it. I think everyone should at least go out and see it for themselves because Michael is the king of pop, so he deserves to be seen on the big screen as long as possible. So go out and see it, form your own opinions, and please shoot us a comment or a message to let me know what you thought.
And you know what, too?
What's
I'm
that?
looking forward to watching it at your place with popcorn and Coke. So,
Please bring
yep.
it on. I would love to. I would love to.
Excellent. All right. Well, it's 55 minutes. All right. So we'll wrap it up. Okay.
Sure. Yeah, sure. No worries.
Cool. All right.
Beat it. Beat it.
Come into the closet. Boom, boom, boom. Oh, she's gonna get. Anyway, that wraps up this episode of Reese's Reviews. Thank you very much, Reece, for your recaps and your just brain full of bountiful information. Just so much. Now, we've got some news for you. Don't worry, we're coming back. So what we're doing is we're just taking a quick break.
Yes, we are.
Just to rest our minds for a moment.
Recharge the batteries, as it were, or recharge the amps.
Yes, exactly.
Loosen up the limbs for our dancing on stage to bad.
Yeah, so we'll be back soon. Just stay subscribed to our podcast as well as follow us on YouTube at My Geek Culture. But we will return sooner rather than later. So
yes, absolutely.
But we will be returning with our episode back on movie anniversaries. And Reece, would you like to present our next film?
Thank you for that. Yeah, absolutely. So we are going to be returning. Do not worry. We're not leaving the space forever. But yeah, we're just taking a few weeks just to recharge the batteries and loosen up our limbs to get back into providing you awesome content. And when we do return, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to be returning with, of course, all the regular segments that you love. But we are going to delve into the next installment of our movie anniversaries, and we are going to be covering Dragonheart.
Ooh, I saw that the movies.
Yes, so Dragonheart is going to be the next on our listings for our movie anniversaries.
A very underrated Sean Connery film.
I think I think it should be highly rated, but that's just me. But
no, underrated means it's not appreciated enough.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true.
Yeah.
So next one is going to be Dragonheart. So keep your eyes open for that. So if you want to watch it and come and listen to our discussion about that, please do. And yes, as Matt said, please keep tuned on to the YouTube channel. Even though we might be away from the podcast space, there might be one or two clips that might go up on our YouTube channel to keep you entertained. Are you not entertained? Yeah. Are you not entertained?
My name is Maximus Murderous. Sorry.
Father to my murdered wife.
Yes.
Father to my murdered son.
My name is Enigma Montoya. You kill my
father. Now I have my vengeance.
Yeah.
You slap on the next.
See, there we go. We just movie quotes. So
absolutely inconceivable.
Yes.
You keep using that word. I don't think it means what you think it means. We should do that at the end of episodes now. We should make a quote and see if we can just pick the movie that it is.
Yeah, well, it'll be like Empire magazine where they put the quote on the spine.
Yeah. We should do that too. We should come to
We'll wrap this one up though with our usual, of course. So
absolutely,
Reece, thank you very much for coming on and doing your recap. And again, thank you for listening. Email us info@mygeekculture.com.au. This has been Reece's Reviews podcast for My Geek Culture, produced by Matt Fulton Productions, mattfulton.com.au.
Have a great rest of your time, evening, weekend, whenever you're listening to this podcast. You are all amazing. We love you very much. And be positive, keep being good to yourselves, and may the Force be with you.
May the
Just keep being bad.